Peace and love, family. It's your brother Isaiah tapping in with another one for the conscious brothers and the conscious sisters in the conscious community. Peace and love, brothers and sisters. It's your brother Isaiah again, sure, with another one for the conscious brothers and the conscious sisters in the conscious community. Let me make sure y'all can hear me. Because sometimes I be having issues. Get this right. Can y'all hear me? Let me know if you can hear me so I can make sure y'all hearing what's being said. Can you hear me? Somebody let me know in the chat. Say we can hear you, God. Let me know. Okay, that's all I needed. Was a yes. Let's get to it. All right. So this right here is going to be how to beat any case. Okay. I'm gonna show you some things, explain some things to you, so you can understand what the errors are and how to assert yourself against somebody that's trying to commit fraud or trying to make you believe you committed a crime when you haven't committed a crime. Okay. This is going to be a very, very important video. I suggest you take notes. I suggest that you pay close attention and write down anything that I show you. All right. Because you're going to need it. So let me get ready to share my screen for a second. All right. All right, so one of the most important elements about charges, right, is understanding the civil rules, right? So we're gonna go to the civil rules of procedures, okay? These are the federal civil rules of procedures. These is the rules that deals with all procedures. The reason why you want to go to the federal rules is because we're in the District of Columbia, and the District of Columbia is a federal district. And federal law stands over all law before any state law, any other law. So if you really want to know what they are required to do, you want to read either the Fair Acquisition Regulation Act, or you either want to go and read civil rules of procedures, because we're dealing with civil matters. We're living in a civil system right now. And it's very important that you understand how civil things work. Okay. So let's go to this, because a lot of things that we think is one thing, it don't mean what we think it means. And we don't, and so we haven't studied, or we've been indoctrinated by the same people that's trying to rule over us, right? Now check this out. So the first thing we go to is the scope, right? It says these rules. It's important that you do this, man. I can't stress it enough that you got to study for yourself. You got to learn, because if you depend on another person to give you everything, you solely putting your faith in that person. You got to believe in yourself. Okay. It says these rules govern the procedure in all civil actions and proceedings in the United States District Courts, except as stated in Rule 81. They should be construed, administered, and employed by the court and parties to secure the justice, speedy, and an inexpensive determination of every action and proceeding. Now, first thing we want to pay attention to, right? It says these rules, right, govern the procedures in all, it says civil actions, right? Civil actions. In all civil actions. Now, I just told you that we are in a civil system. Everything is dealing with civil matters. Now let's look this word civil action up, because every action brought against us is considered as civil, right? Now, now here it is right here. Non-criminal legal proceeding. Did you know that? How many, raise your hand if you knew that a civil matter is non-criminal? How many of you been charged for a civil case that was labeled as criminal? Raise your hand if they took advantage of you, you got time in the penitentiary or something like that for something that was not criminal, but you were locked up under a criminal charge, even though the matter itself was civil. Okay? Any of us that's been to jail, we can go back for this because that's fraud. There's no limitations on fraud. Now you know the truth. All these so-called criminal cases are not criminal. They are all civil cases. And you can never get a criminal case out of a civil matter. Wow, they've been tricking us. Wow, I don't see how they even got it off. I'm gonna be real with you. It says a civil action is a non-criminal legal proceeding. Non-criminal, yo. Non-criminal. Where one party, the plaintiff, brings a complaint against another party, the defendant, right? In hopes of obtaining a legal remedy, okay? This typically involves seeking compensation or damages, but can also include requests for injunctions or other court orders, right? Civil actions usually involve private parties, meaning the people. We are private, right? And are filed in judicial district courts, right? That has jurisdiction over the issue, right? The objective is to resolve disputes and determining the liability with the standards of proof, typically being a preponderance of evidence. So they can't just take you in there and start administering you, right? They got to have evidence, and you must demand that they prove their authority to do any act that they do. You don't let nobody just go in there and start saying how you plead and all that without them proving their authority, without them showing you in writing that they have the authority to be there, to do what they doing, or any act. Come on, man. What the hell been wrong with, man? We need to wake the hell up, okay? Because it ain't their fault, it's our fault. We have a responsibility. And until you stand up and take your lawful position, if you were put here by the Creator to subdue and replenish and conquer, what the hell is wrong with you? Why are you not subduing, replenishing, and conquering? Oh, because somebody taught you other than yourself. Yeah. Every man that I know of knows in his heart what his duty is, even though he might not accept it. That's why so many men have a problem, man, with a lot of different things that the world projects on us, just like women. But I want you to understand this piece right here, that it's non-criminal, okay? So now you know. You should never have to guess again. You should never have to ask a question again about if you got a son, a daughter, and they saying it's criminal right now, you know it's a lie. That's all fraud. It's all deception. It's all mind control. They want you to believe it's criminal, and then you will accept it as criminal, and then it's guaranteed because they got your mind. See, if I can get you to believe that you've done something wrong, then you will accept that wrong. See, it's all mind control. They're trying to get you to believe something that's not true, because they know 9 times out of 10, if we know we're wrong, we want to do right. So if I can induce you to believe in that this act is a wrong act, then more than likely you'll comply to whatever I'm trying to get you to do. And that's basically how they pretty much run their system. Let's keep this moving, though. Let's keep this moving. I'm going to show you something today. Now, we go to Rule 2. Very important rule. Rule 2 of the Federal Rules of Procedure. There's only one form of action, and that's a civil action. There ain't no such thing as a criminal action. All the stuff that they be taking you in the court, and oh, this is criminal. That's a lie. According to the civil rules, there's only one form of action, and that's civil. Now, what does civil mean? Let's look this up, because this is how you study in order for you to learn, right? So it says a civil action, right? So legal definition of civil. And sometimes, man, when you study, You can't just go off the first definition. Sometimes you might have to continue to look until you find that definition that pretty much gives you a full, complete understanding of what you want to know, right? So it says a civil action is a branch of the law that regulates non-criminal rights. See? Now, see? It ain't no mistake, man. Civil actions are non-criminal. All of them. Man, I went in the courtroom on some tickets and hit them with that. They was looking crazy. I told them, man, this is a non-civil action. I mean, this is a civil action. This is non-criminal. How you got me in here for a criminal charge? They was looking stupid because they don't expect for us to know this kind of truth, man. All they expect for us to do is follow policies, procedures. We're indoctrinated by television and follow what they told us. Never study to find out what the real truth is, okay? So the truth is a civil action is non-criminal. So how in the hell did I go to jail for 20 years? How in the hell did your son, your daughter, anybody in our family go to jail? We all need to be in the courtroom. They owe us for everything that they've been doing to us, okay? They owe us. All right, so a branch of law that regulates non-criminal rights, duties of the persons, natural persons, and legal persons. So what did I tell you when you went to court? I said, when you're going into court, you are a man or a woman, but the name that they're administering is a legal person. And if you come in and you don't know how to address that, you're going to make a joinder with your person. You're going to become one with that legal name. See, when you're going into court, they're administrating natural and legal persons. Both, not just one, both. And equal legal relations, because both persons have equal relations between the private individual. It said it encompasses business contracts, estate, domestic, family relations, accidents, negligence, and every other related legal issue, statute, or lawsuit that is not criminal law. Huh? Not criminal law. If reference to law, civil, is used primarily as a descriptive term to denote conflicts between private individuals. Huh? What? Private individuals? A civil case is a private non-criminal lawsuit. Oh my God. Did you know that? A civil case is a private non-criminal lawsuit, usually involving private property rights, including respecting rights stated under the Constitution or federal or state law. Bam! Got him. We got him. You can't run now, partner. Yeah, I'm exposing you. I'm going to expose you to the fullest extent so that the people can know the truth about what you are and what you're doing to us. Your time is running out, partner. You better get it together before the people rise up, because we're about to rise up. And everybody that did us wrong, you're going to have to look at us when we rise up. So you might as well start fixing some of this wrong you've been doing and correct your wrong, because you never thought we'll figure it out. But it told you in the book that we shall know the truth, and the truth will set us free. But I guess you don't believe that the power is the power that it said it is. But now you're starting to find out that that power is real, and it's not fake, and it's not a myth, and it's not a story that our ancestors told you. All right? Get it together, because we coming. All right, now check this out. Now, commencement of an action. All right, so this goes both ways. If I want to bring an action against them, or when somebody so-called, quote unquote, bring an action against my person, which is my property. You can't charge me, but you can charge my property where all my interest is located. That's why they charge the person, because the person carries the interest. All right, now check it out. Now it says rule number 1, rule 5E denotes that, right? It says a civil action is commenced by filing a complaint with the court, right? So whenever they want to create a private non-criminal lawsuit against you, they file a complaint in a civil court. But the deception is that the prosecutor files the case as criminal. And I just showed you that, oh, that's bogus. Why would he file it as criminal when he know that it's a civil act? You think he don't know what a civil action is? You think he don't know what a civil lawsuit is? How the hell are you a prosecutor and you don't know what a civil action? How are you labeling this as criminal? Y'all see what's wrong now? That's what's wrong. And how your lawyer don't know. How you got a private lawyer that don't know that this is being misrepresented as criminal? You think he don't know what a civil action is? You think your lawyer don't know what a civil case mean? How the hell you go to law school and you don't know what that is? So you got all these people in here, you representing my son, my daughter on a criminal case that you know ain't even criminal, and you won't even say nothing. You in here playing the role with the people, acting like it's something really criminal going on. Look, we're going to talk to the prosecutor. We're going to do this. I got you. I'm going to get the best for your son. You're lying to us. We should never even be even talking about the case, period. If I have an interest and I'm a party of interest, the only thing my lawyer is going to do is work to the best of my interest. I'm going to make sure he know that I give you the rights to acknowledge my interest in these proceedings and transfer my interest to the clerk to settle the obligation on behalf of my. If you can't do that, get up off my case. See, the thing about having a lawyer is the lawyer is your mouthpiece. You don't work for the lawyer. The lawyer is hired and assigned to you. He works for you. You're the principal, and he's your mouthpiece. He's your agent. So the same thing that you wanted to do, be the agent for the principal and speak for him. Now you can stand in a position and be the owner, the principal, and tell your agent what you want him to say. This is what I want you to do. Here's your instructions. This is what you do. A lawyer is not always a bad thing, even though it grants jurisdiction to the court, but it gives you full power to use him as your mouthpiece. You tell him, this is what I need done. This is what you do. Here's your instructions, agent, by the principal, sign, authorize. Now, do what I say. See, know your position. Know who you are. You ain't got to run from no lawyer. Oh, I want you off my case. All you got to do is give him instructions that will make him leave the case because he can't do it. See what I'm saying? He'll go to, Mr. Lewis is asking me to do some things. I know I am because I know you can't go against what you took an oath to. But you want to go against the Constitution. You say you working to the best of my interest, but not once did I hear you say anything about my interest in the case. Not once. Now check this out. So whenever you want to file a case or sue somebody, it starts with a complaint in the court. All right. Now, I'm gonna show you something now. It says a summons must be named, a summons must name the court and the party. So when you file a complaint with the clerk of court, then a summons got to be delivered along with that complaint, right, to the party that's affected by that record, right? So it says name the court and the parties to be directed to the defendant, right? It says state the name and the address of the plaintiff's attorney, or if unrepresented of the plaintiff, state the time which the defendant must appear and defend. Notify the defendant that the failure to appear and defend will result in a judgment against the defendant for relief demanded. So all this has to be in your summons in complaint form. It has to be styled in a certain way with the right stuff in it. So when the other person receives it, it's in compliance with the rule. Something similar to what they do when they serve you, right? Now it says notify the defendant that the failure to appear with the will result in a default judgment against the defendant for relief demanded in the complaint. So same thing you do with them when you're making a complaint about your security interest, when you're making a complaint about any breach of contract, when you're making a complaint about anything according to your agreement that is improper, right? And then you go and you file that complaint with the court, and then you get a summons and complaint, and you serve that upon their registered agent. You got to do your homework because you got to make sure you're serving the right person, okay? In order to get or initiate the lawsuit, they have a chance to either settle with you or either show up in the court and defend their side of the matter. Now, if you understand title and you understand you're the payee and that the security interest runs to your order, you should never lose in court. You only lose in court if you think you're a debtor. That's the only way you can lose. Man, I'm trying to tell you, man. Once you know this truth, man, it's a wrap. All right. Now it says the court may permit the summons to be amended. Insurance. On or after the complaint, the plaintiff may present the summons to the clerk for the signature and the seal. If the summons is properly completed, the clerk must sign, seal, and issue it to the plaintiff for service on the defendant. Okay? A summons or a copy of a summons that is addressed to multiple defendants must be issued for each defendant to be served. Okay? The most important aspects of civil law is whenever a complaint is filed in the court, summons must be served. This is mandatory. This is law, bro. This is civil procedure. You cannot be sued and not be served. So if you got a traffic ticket and the cop, when he gave you the ticket, it was just a complaint, or it was just an allegation. It wasn't even it was an allegation of a charge. He was certain that he witnessed something that was criminal in action. Now we know what he witnessed was civil, but he's saying that it was criminal. So it's an allegation. It's not even factual. It's only factual as if you are indoctrinated to believe what they've been teaching you on TV and movies, that you did commit a crime. So you accept that and you comply. See what I'm saying? But the cop is giving an allegation. I didn't even know I got sued. What do you mean? When the cop wrote the ticket, he was alleging that I committed a crime, but he got to prove that. We got to go through a court process or something. We got, because I'm not just guilty based off what he's saying, right? So if the cop just wrote a complaint, how did I end up in court? Because he had to take that complaint and he had to file that complaint with the district attorney's office. Now, what's wrong with that? Because the cop shouldn't be the one filing the complaint, because he's not the one claiming injury. He's not saying I injured him. So why would he go and file a complaint against me? And then the prosecuting attorney sue me for the complaint, even though the cop is not the one claiming injury. Isn't that fraud? Isn't that deception? I believe it is. All right. Now, the cop takes the complaint to the district attorney. What the district attorney does is he witnesses the cop's statement. When he look at the statement, he say, okay, well, this is enough information in order to bring a claim, a civil action. So what he does is he files a civil action in the court. So the prosecutor actually is the one filing the lawsuit, because he's the one taking the information, the sworn statement from the cop. He's adopting that statement, and then he's issuing that statement on behalf of that cop or that police department or whatever. So initially, the prosecuting attorney is the one filing the lawsuit. And according to law, it says when the complaint is filed, it says right here, here it is. It says, on or after filing the complaint, the plaintiff must present the summons to the clerk. I ain't getting no damn summons for no tickets. Matter of fact, when they locked me up for the guns, I never even got a summons for that. All I got was a police report. I never got I didn't even know if they were suing me. I'm gonna be real with you. I thought the cop wrote a ticket, and I'm looking at what the cop wrote, and I'm dealing with the police report. All I dealt with was the complaint from the cop and the police report. I never even knew it was a lawsuit involved. I never even knew the prosecutor sued me for that information. I never knew it. None of us know. They never tell us that we're being sued. And the reason why is because when they sue you, they have to do this. They have to present the summons to the clerk to get a seal and a signature. And the summons is properly completed. The clerk must sign and seal it and issue it to the plaintiff, which would be the prosecutor, for service on who? On you, the one being charged, for the case that the cop wrote. a summons or a copy of the summons that is addressed. See, but they never do it. The reason why he never do it is because it'll be clear fraud. If he sent you a summons and a complaint saying you was being sued by the state, but it was being issued by the cop, that's fraud all day long. He know he couldn't do that. He know you will be able to see the fraud. So in order for him to not have to deal with the fact that you will be able to see that he's being deceptive and charging you, he never sent it to you. They put the summons in the ticket, or they lock you up and put you in a frenzy so you don't even think about a summons at all. And then they give you a police report saying you've been charged. All right. And they skip over all the rest of the procedures though. And we don't even know it's wrong. We just complying with it and just going along with it. And it's all wrong. Okay, let me get back. All right, so when you go in here, right, they tell you how to serve, discovery, appearance, demands, all that, right? So it says, unless rules provide otherwise, each of the following papers must be served on every party in order stating that service is required. B, a pleading filed after the original complaint, unless the court order otherwise under Rule 5C, because there is a number of defendants. A discovery paper required to be served on a party unless the court orders otherwise, a written motion, except one that may be heard ex parte, or a written appearance demand, or offer of judgment, or any similar paper. So they saying whenever you issue any kind of paper, any kind of demand, anything pertaining to the proceeding, it must be served on all parties that are a part of the proceeding. Now, I'm gonna show you how you can beat the cases, right? Pretty much you can beat any case based off the fact that they never follow proper procedures. They never serve you a summons and a complaint. If the cop files a complaint, you still got to get a summons and complaint from the lawsuit if you got to go to court. Anytime you're in court, that's because you're being sued. All right. So if they got you in court, they got you being sued for some particular reason. And if you didn't get summons of the suit and didn't know about the fact that it was a lawsuit, that's improper service. Okay. They can't hold you accountable for something that's not right. So let me show you something. Go to my email real quick. All right, so this is a document that most people never get a chance to see. Okay, I'm gonna show it to you. This is let me make sure y'all can see it. Okay, so this is a complaint that was filed against me here recently. All right, and I'm gonna share this with y'all because most of us don't know this, and it's critical that you know this. For the simple fact, all right, so this is a complaint that was filed on me for some traffic citations, and they charged my legal person, right? But I want to show you the complaint, right? Because what they do is they give us a ticket from the cop as the complaint, but they never show you the actual petition that's filed in the court from that complaint that the cop wrote on you at the time you entered into the transaction with him, right? So right here, you got the people of the state of Illinois. That's improper. You know why? Because according to the Bill of Particulars, it's impossible for me to offend all the people at one time. And when the people are in all different places. So how could I commit a crime against the people unless I injured all the people at the same time? So what I would do is I would pull in the Bill of Particulars because this is improper. I understand these things, man. That's why I've been to the joint. I learned so much. That's why I know what I'm talking about, right? So now As you can see, they got the city, the state is they saying that I committed a crime against the people. They saying that it's the city of Alton, right? That's the case number, so you can keep up with it, so you can see the outcome. All right, now, and then I redacted some information. Now check this out. Now this is a misdemeanor complaint, but it's being filed as a criminal charge. All right, now it says complaint. PFC Packer, 1602, 1700 East Broadway, Alton, Illinois, on oath charges. That's not a proper oath. You're supposed to say, I certify under the penalty of perjury that that the information being provided in this document is true and correct to the best of my knowledge and my belief. That's a proper oath. You don't just say on oath. Who the hell? So you're basically telling me you trying to sue me on oath? He ain't even certified that what he's saying is true. He just said on oath. This is improper, yo. This is improper. Okay? But we don't know that. Why? Because we don't never get it. You never get it. You go into court, you're so busy. Oh, I'm the representative, the agent. You never say, hey, man, give me a copy of your complaint that you're saying that you have against me. I need a copy of that. Have you ever asked for it? You never asked for it, did you? That's why you ain't got one of these and you can't explain it like I'm doing right now because you don't ask for it, okay? Now, look, it says that on or about the 17th day of August of 22 in Madison County in Alton, Isaiah Joaquin Bey, hereafter called the defendant, right, committed the offense endangering the life, right? They try to say, they said that in that said defendant knowingly and intentionally operated a motor vehicle being a silver 2006 Mercedes-Benz CLS 500, brings no valid registration, then on the public roadway with 2-year-old Camilla Bey in the front passenger seat without proper child restraint device or seatbelt while traveling on, and it tell where I was traveling at, in violation of this, and that, right? Now, and all that the prosecuting attorney did was say, subscribe and sworn before me. So the prosecutor is alleging that this bogus ass statement that the cop gave on oath charges me. So on oath, he's charging me. He's not certifying that it's true. He's not certifying that it's correct. Did you know that according to the Civil Rules of Procedure, it says that all complaints must certify either under the penalty of perjury that the information is true and correct, or either must be a notarized statement. This right here is supposed to be certified under the penalty of perjury. So this right here, this oath that he got on here is improper because according to the civil rules, he gotta certify under the penalty of perjury. All right. So he didn't certify under the penalty of perjury. And it's a misrepresentation for the simple fact what I just showed you. Remember earlier, I showed you, I said that a civil lawsuit is a private, non-criminal lawsuit between private persons. So here's one private person, Isaiah Joaquin Bey. The people of the state is not a private person. So how is this proper when it says that civil actions deals with private individuals? It's supposed to be an individual and another individual, not an individual in a company. Because if it's you versus the police department, right, then it's your corporation versus the police department corporation. But when you assume the role of a natural man and say that you are a real living person, now the state police department has to have an injured party. They can't just say that the police department is the injured party. There has to be somebody within that department who's alleging personal injury. from the actions that took place. If that's not the case, then it's a bogus claim. All right. Everything about it is bogus. All right. This is bogus right here. Right. And the reason why you can get the case thrown out, right? Because according to the federal rules of procedure, when the prosecutor sued you, did you get one of these? When I went to court for my ticket, I never even seen this document. I never even knew that I was being sued. I never knew that the cop took it, went to the district attorney's office, and made a sworn statement. And then there was a lawsuit filed from that sworn statement in which now I'm in a lawsuit and there's a petition on file showing that I'm being sued. But for some odd reason, I never received it. I never received this. I received the stuff the cop wrote, but I didn't receive the suit when it turned into a lawsuit. That's improper, man. That's improper. All this is improper. Okay? And this is very important that you know that. This right here is enough to get the whole case throughout. For the simple fact, you can prove that a lawsuit was filed and you never had notice of it. You never got served for it. Okay? Which they can't proceed. They can't move forward once you challenge that jurisdiction because they never did proper service upon you. Never did it. All right? So I just wanted to show you that, man, because a lot of people, you know, we've been manipulated in so many different ways by the system. And you not understanding the fact that that they have to go through certain proper procedures in order to administer a claim. You know what I'm saying? They can't just file a lawsuit against you and then take you into court as a foreign person, right? Let me show you something real quick before I go. Just the last thing, I'm gonna show you this. All right. Okay, so this right here deals with immunity, right? For foreign states, okay? All right, so subject to existing international agreements to which the United States is a party at the time of enactment of this act, a foreign state shall be immune from the jurisdiction of the courts of the United States and of the states except as provided in section 1605 and 1607. Now let's go to 1605. All right, it says a foreign state shall be immune from jurisdiction of the courts of the United States or of the state in any case, right, in which the foreign state has waived its immunity, either explicitly by implication, notwithstanding any withdrawal of the waiver which the foreign state may purport to effect, except in accordance with the terms of the waiver, in which the action is based upon commercial activity carried on in the United States by the foreign state, or upon an act performed in the United States in connection with a commercial activity of the foreign state elsewhere, or upon an outside territory of the United States in connection with a commercial activity of the foreign state elsewhere, and that act causes a direct effect in the United States. So you could be a foreign person, but do an act within the District of Columbia that causes you to become liable in the district, right? Commercial activity. A commercial activity means either a regular course of commercial conduct, a particular commercial transaction or act, or a commercial character of an activity shall be determined by reference to the nature of the course of conduct or particular transaction or act rather than by reference to its purpose, right? So it ain't so much the purpose of what you was doing, is the act. What was your intentions? What were you trying to do at the time? Because depending on what it is, it can create a jurisdictional matter. It says in which rights and property taken in violation of international law are an issue, and that property or any property exchanged for such property is present in the United States in connection with a commercial activity carried on in the United States by a foreign state, or that property or any property exchanged for property is owned or operated by an agency or instrumentality of a foreign state, and that agency or instrumentality is engaged in commercial activities in the United States. So if you are if your state is created under a foreign state, which is a foreign entity, foreign to the United States, and you have a state created under that state as a citizen of that state, you have a state from that state, right? Which makes your state foreign too. Only way you get jammed up in something is if you consent, or if the activity that you're involved in shows that you choose to participate in the activity, all right, which will cause you to become bound in the United States, in which rights and property in the United States acquired by succession or gift, or rights in immovable property situated in the United States are an issue, right? So a lot of these people that's dealing with you is actually gaining a right over your property due to the fact of how you're entering into these agreements. Let me find what I'm looking for, though. I'm looking for a specific thing. Go back. Show you what I'm talking about. All right, so let me read this part real quick. All right, so a foreign state is protected under international law. And pretty much when dealing with international law, they have to follow certain rules, certain regulations, and things like that. But let me see if I can find this one part where it talks about what I'm looking for. Oh, look, I'm gonna look it up. It's on my phone, though. I know it's on my phone. Let me pull this up real quick so I can show this to y'all. Because a lot of people want to know, well, how do we know that we are a foreign state? And I'm going to show it to you so you can know that you are, in fact, operating as a foreign state. So let me see. I got so much information. Y'all got to bear with me. Okay, let me pull this up. Okay, 28/1603. So I'm going to title 28/1603. All right, so I'm gonna show you something. All right, so it says a foreign, for the purposes of this chapter, a foreign state, except as used in 1608 of this title, includes a political subdivision of a foreign state, or an agency or instrumentality of a foreign state, as defined in subsection B. B, an agency Instrumentality of a foreign state means, number one, which is a separate legal person. Right there. If you're using a legal person, a legal name, you are a foreign state, corporate or otherwise, and which is an organ of a foreign state, meaning the republic or political subdivision thereof, or a majority of whose shares or other ownership interest is owned by a foreign state or political subdivision thereof, and which is neither a citizen of a state of the United States, as defined in section 1332, C and E of this title, nor created under the laws of any third country. The United States includes all territories and waters, continental, insular, subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. A commercial activity means the regular course of commercial conduct in particular commercial transactions or act. A commercial character of an activity shall be determined by reference to the nature of the course of the conduct or particular transaction or act rather than by the reference. So basically, a foreign state which is an agency or some kind of instrumentality, which is a separate legal person. So an agency or instrumentality is a legal person that's separate from its owner. Most people don't know that it's separate from them because they act as a legal person, not knowing that it's something separate from them, okay? As a foreign state. Now, let me go back real quick. Now, I'm going to go. So, which a foreign state? The United States. Fine. All right, so let's see, 32. Now, check this out. Now, it says, check this out. The district court shall have original jurisdiction over all civil actions. There go that word civil action again, where the matter in controversy exceeds sums or value of 75,000 exclusive of interest and costs and is between citizens of different states. Citizens of a state and citizens are subjects of a foreign state. See, subjects of Morocco, all right? Because the Moroccan Empire, when we fell, we became subjects. We became foreign subjects, all right? Subjects under the empire, except that the district court shall not have original jurisdiction under the subsection of an action between citizens of a state and citizens or subjects of a foreign state, right? Who are lawfully admitted for permanent residence in the United States and are domiciled in the same state. Citizens of different states and in which citizens are subjects of a foreign state or additional parties, and a foreign state as defined in 1603A of this title as plaintiff and citizen of a state or different states. So right here it says, except when express provisions therefore is otherwise made in a statute of the United States, where a plaintiff who files the case originally in federal court is finally adjudged to the entitlement to recover less than the sums of the value of 75,000 compute without regards to any set off or counterclaim to which the defendant may be adjudged to be entitled and exclusive of interest and cost, the district court may deny cost to the plaintiff. In addition, may impose cost on the plaintiff. For the purposes of this section, a corporation shall be deemed to be a citizen of every state and foreign state by which it has been incorporated, and of the state or foreign state where it has its principal place of business, except that in any direct action against the issuer of a policy or contract of liability insurance, whether incorporated or unincorporated, to which the action the insured is not joined as a party, defendant, such issuer shall be deemed a citizen of. So basically, it's saying that the corporations are citizens of all states, right? But if an action has been issued on your behalf as the issuer and you default in reference to the corporation, you become the citizen. Automatically, you create a joinder, and then you transcend to your legal capacity as the defendant rather than in your natural capacity as a natural person. All right, because you have legal capacity too. Every state and foreign state of which the insured is a citizen, every state of a foreign state by which the insured has been incorporated in the state, you are the insured, right? You're insured through your corporation, right? And every policy that you receive, you might call it a debt. It's an insurance policy to receive insurance payments for a mortgage. If you get a house, you're receiving an insurance policy, and that you might think it's a debt, but it's really insurance. Is credit, and credit is what secures you, not actually makes you pay. All right, it's just a lack of understanding. All right, the legal representative of the estate of a deceased shall be deemed to be a citizen only of the same state as the decedent, and the legal representative of an infant or incompetent shall be deemed to be a citizen only of the same state as the infant or the incompetent, right? And then it started talking about classes and class members. That's something different. But I'm finna get up off of here. I just wanted to show y'all that, right? Because it's very important that you learn, especially about things like this, man. You know, make sure that whenever you're in a court proceeding, you get this document, because this is the document that you must dispute. This is the document that you must combat it. This is the document that you must prove is fraudulent, void, unenforceable. Challenge this, because if this goes unchallenged, it remains active. It's just like a debt that has not been disputed. If you don't dispute it, then I can sit up here and say, oh, I don't care. You did this wrong. You did that wrong. You did this wrong. I could argue with you all day about what you did wrong or right. But if I don't dispute the debt, then that means that I accept it as accurate. If I say that the debt is inaccurate, it's void, why wouldn't I dispute it? Why would I sit up there and write you back and forth claiming I'm a creditor when I know that this is wrong? I dispute this. First of all, you're not going to collect nothing. You're not going to report nothing because I'm disputing everything you're doing. I don't consent. I dispute that it's inaccurate. I demand that you validate. You prove this. You prove that. See what I'm saying? And then any act done from that, now I got evidence that can go to the credit bureaus to dispute any inaccuracies based off of our transactions. I got records. I got, you know what I'm saying, things to show the interactions, the intercourse, the communication between the parties. Okay? And all this stuff is very important that you learn how to assert yourself properly and do things properly. You know what I'm saying? But with that said, man, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to bring this one to a closure. I hope that this was informative to anybody that's trying to figure out what's been going wrong with these cases and stuff. And understanding that the complaint that the cop writes on the side of the road is not the same complaint that it's the same complaint, but it's not the actual document that you need to challenge. You need to challenge what they want you to do is write them back and argue the ticket. Okay? They want you to write back and argue the ticket. No, you don't want to argue the ticket. You want to argue, you want to dispute or challenge the petition. You want to challenge the petition for the simple fact they're saying that the people of the state of Illinois is suing me. But the people of the state is not the one filing the complaint against me. Again, they're saying up here, the people of the state of Illinois versus Isaiah Bay. But when I read the complaint, it says complaint PFC Packer 602. Isn't that a police officer's number and name? Complaint. So the complaint was filed by PFC Packer 1602, 1700 East Broadway. Is that your location, Packer? Is that where you're located? Well, why would you file a fraudulent complaint against me and then say that the state is the one suing me? Are you trying to commit fraud against me, Packer? What about you, prosecutor? This is public now. I want you to understand that I'm making this public, that you have committed fraud. You have committed fraud because the officer Packer is the witness. He's the witness that witnessed the so-called injury to the state. Why is he the one filing the complaint for the state? Isn't that inaccuracy? Wouldn't the state have to come forward and be the one to file the complaint with the district attorney's office, even though the cop witnessed me injure the state? Doesn't the state have to speak up and say something? Wouldn't the state have to provide a statement of injury? Or you just telling me you're going to use this cop statement, which is an allegation against me, and tell me I'm guilty? Are you serious? You're going to take my son away? You're going to take my daughter away for 30 years? For an allegation that ain't even substantiated by the state? I got to go, y'all. I got a class. But I'll come back and I'll catch y'all at a later date. Peace and love.